In 1976, the Fairchild Channel F was released to the public, marking the initiation and the dawn of home physical video game cartridges. And up until today, in 2026, physical video games, physical media has been dominant. And while we've seen a shift in the last 5 to 10, maybe even 15 years in the digital marketplaces and digital storefronts taking a larger leap forward, physical media still remains incredibly prevalent. However, that is all going to change, and what we are currently seeing is a shift in the gaming industry so drastic, so vastly different than what we're used to, that physical media is on the verge of extermination, wiped away from human history forever. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is D3Structive Dude, and let's just cut right to the chase. Physical video games are dead. Now, you may be asking yourself, Drew, this is an insane take to have. It's a random Sunday. I'm just trying to enjoy my day. Why are you yelling at me on my monitor or on my big screen TV? And to that I say, tuck yourself into the couch, grab a blanket and your favorite snack, because I got a lot to talk about and not a whole lot of time to do it. The canon event for this particular conversation dates back to June 24th, just a few weeks ago, where Rockstar talked and launched a memo saying that the pre-orders for Grand Theft Auto 6, the new entry into the Grand Theft Auto series, are officially live. Now, you don't need me to explain to you that the most anticipated game of all time, a game that we were supposed to get last month, or like 2 months ago at this point, is going to be not only the most anticipated game ever, but probably going to go down as one of the best of all time. Rockstar has that track record, but it is within this particular blog post talking about these pre-orders that the precursor to physical media and video games dying was set in stone. This memo talks about the two different versions for GTA 6, an $80 standard version and a $100 Ultimate Edition, where the Ultimate Edition gives you exclusive mod shops, car dealerships, clothing and weapon stores, but also access to exclusive single-player content. Now, you don't need me to tell you how a single-player game having exclusive content locked behind a paywall is incredibly stupid. But Rockstar, for as much praise as they do get, by myself included, with Red Dead Redemption 2 being my second favorite video game of all time, is not new to this. They are true to this. This has happened in Red Dead Redemption 2, it's happened in Red Dead 1, hell, it happened in GTA 5 and GTA 4. But the big kicker in this entire argument was that Rockstar also stated in this blog post that there will be no physical disc releases for Grand Theft Auto 6, meaning that there will only be physical game copies that have the, collapsible shell cases, right? But there will be no discs. If you were to go to a GameStop, a Target, a Walmart, or wherever, a Costco, and buy a physical copy of Grand Theft Auto 6 on that day, November 19th, it'll just be a game code inside of a case, no disc at all. This, and rightfully so, sends the internet into an absolute frenzy, trying to figure out why would Rockstar do this, effectively stamping, sealing, and delivering a start date for the end of physical media. And it is terrifying, to say the least, because what we were going to receive, which I will talk about later in this video, hashtag foreshadowing, was only the beginning of what seems to be the end. There's also been reports that have come out from various brick and mortar stores that said they will not sell any physical copies of GTA 6. It's false marketing, it's not actually a real game case, and you can't actually, buy the game. There's no physical version. There's no reason to buy a physical version of GTA besides to have the shell casing, and at that point, what are you doing? Furthermore, Rockstar also says in this blog post that there will be an enhanced version of GTA 6 that will be accessible via the PS5 Pro. Now, of course, the PS5 Pro does have better hardware than that of the launch PS5 from 2020, but this console also costs $900 USD, which means if you want to play the most pristine version of GTA 6 in November, you're going to have to buy the $100 version of the game to make sure you get access to all of the content that's already inside the game that Rockstar is paywalling from you, and a $900 console, which means if I do the quick math, and I did go to school for it, that's $1,000 to play GTA 6, a game that Rockstar also claims will not run natively at 60 FPS, even on the PS5 Pro. So you may be asking yourself, why aren't people angry enough? This is a pretty heavy penny to pay for a game that has had zero gameplay shown besides trailers, a game we're supposed to get back in May of this year, as well as developers actively within Rockstar saying that they have had pay inequity, a lot of crunch, and they've been having bonuses weaponized against them. And most developers on this team, inside of this company, in this studio, feel like they have been underpaid severely for the amount of work they've had to do. And while Rockstar is, of course, not new to the whole game crunch that seems to go on every big AAA cycle, GTA 6 is going to be one of the best games, arguably of all time, I can already imagine. And right now, it is the most anticipated title we've ever seen. But this is also one of the most greedy things I've ever seen out of a game company, the golden boy of this current generation. And what frustrates me more than anything else is that if this was another company like EA or 2K or Ubisoft, you would see corners of the internet, all different regions, actively up in arms, torches and pitchforks in hand. But because it's Rockstar, they gain this extra leniency and full transparency. Rockstar has earned a lot of goodwill in this industry for the narrative focus that they have put in these video games. Again, Red Dead Redemption 2 is my second favorite video game of all time. It is the best video game story I have ever played. But we also need to be honest with ourselves and recognize that if we let Rockstar, the golden boy, the golden goose of this gaming generation, actively nickel and dime us at every nook, cranny, turn, doesn't matter, I'm stuttering because I'm upset, then we're going to allow other companies to do the same things. And we've already seen that throughout this entire month. But again, tip of the iceberg, GTA 6 in a vacuum, while it is the most anticipated game ever, it's just one game. So surely not, there could not possibly be 3 of the 4 major players in the entire gaming industry also completely obviously I wrote the script so I can see like the breaks and the lines and stuff like that, and I knew this part was coming, but even reading back my notes here, the fact that 3 of the 4 major players in the gaming industry made big boo-boos in like 2 weeks' time is absolutely insane. What's crazier is that somehow one of them's not goddamn Nintendo. Nintendo, I don't know how you got past my rage or my wrath. You know how I feel about the goddamn plumber. But somehow they're not on this list. But that's right. 3 of the 4 major companies when it comes to video gaming, Valve, Microsoft, and Sony, went full Goku Black, I'ma kill everybody mode. And not just at the expense of their employees, but also at the expense of the customers, aka us. Let's start at the absolute top with Valve, who recently launched their brand new console, the Steam Machine. Now, full transparency, when the Steam Machine was announced last year in November, my initial thoughts were this is a good idea for a console. It brings in the ability for people who want to enjoy PC gaming, specifically indie titles that they don't have to have as much stress with, to play them without having to worry about operating Windows or Linux, especially with the increased RAM prices. Custom PCs are a little bit hard to come by right now. The economy sucks. It made a whole lot of sense last November. But let me tell you something, man. I did not expect Valve to fumble the bag this hard. This is like Pete Carroll, 1 yard line. We're not giving it to beast mode. We're giving a quick slant over the middle. Valve, what are we doing, brother? On the 30th of June, the Steam Machine launched to a plethora of mixed signals. It's the most 50-50 split you may have ever seen in your entire existence as a video game enthusiast. The price point alone basically phases out almost everybody at a starting point of $1,049 USD, which is $149 more than a PS5 Pro. But I hear what you're saying. Oh, but Drew, I got Steam OS. I can run Steam games. Cool. How are you gonna do that? Because, did I not fail to mention that the $1,049 version of the Steam Machine, 512 gigabytes, by the way, doesn't come with a controller? The console doesn't come with a controller. That's the entry-level price. With, again, a bone-shattering, mind you, 512 gigabytes of storage. That's like Call of Duty. maybe, I don't even know anymore. On top of that, if you want to get the enhanced version, whatever the fuck that is, with 2 terabytes of storage and a controller, it's $1,428. So let me run that back. The console that was supposed to bring Steam to console players is $1,500. We've lost the plot, man. Not to mention, the biggest offense of all of this is that the console has worse hardware specs than my PS5 that I bought in 2020. Are we out of our damn minds? And the cherry on top of the shit cake, and I'm using cherry here because it's red, that's funny, is that some users of the Steam machine have already noted that after 20 mere minutes of use, they are getting a red line of death, a la the red ring of death from the Xbox 360. And because there's no external, power adapters or anything like that, the only way to get it fixed is to get it fixed under warranty, which means that Valve launched a $1,500 tungsten cube lookalike that can barely play games at 60 FPS and also has a high probability of just bricking. Gaben, you know I love ya. This has got to be the biggest swing and a miss I've seen in quite some fucking time, but still does not pale in comparison to what they're doing over at Team Green. So even though Microsoft is not currently launching any buggy, broken, or overpriced consoles in the last few weeks, they are also under extreme amounts of scrutiny. July 6th, known now to everyone who watches this video and all over the internet, I hope, because this video hopefully gets a lot of views and you guys love it. Known as the Green Death, shows off one of the biggest tech layoffs in the history of the gaming industry. 1,600 Xbox employees were laid off on that Monday, with another 1,600 set to be laid off by the end of 2027. Now, this comes as a genuine concern because it's not just the Xbox employees, but Microsoft in general is seeing almost 5,000 employees cut from the company. And you don't gotta tell me why they're doing that. AI, lots of money into AI that's clearly not working. Copilot, Claude, ChatGPT, LLMs, CEOs, CFOs. I hate AI with a fiery passion. If a T-1000 busts through my window, I'm judo chopping that thing. Whatcha? But this is a massive concern for Xbox and for the entire industry. When Asha Shah took over for Phil Spencer at the beginning of this year, there were a lot of people, myself included, that were excited for a new change in leadership. Asha came out swinging, saying that the direction of Xbox was going to completely change. And yes, I understand that in the tech industry, as someone who's been a software developer for 7 years, I understand it. It is tough. The market is difficult. But this is not what you want to see from a brand new director of the U.S. Treasury, mind you. In addition, 5 studios were closed, which, if you know anything about Xbox in the last, decade, they've basically been going to the local Golden Corral of used and abused game studios and plucking them and putting them in their pocket for a roadie on the way back home on the 45-minute drive on I-95. One of these studios, unfortunately, is id Software, which, while it's not closed, they only have about 200 odd employees and they only laid off 136. And the Doom Dark Ages DLC get really good. I haven't played it yet, but I heard it's really fucking awesome, so how does that even work, man? Xbox has made it apparent to acquire a lot of these big studios between Activision, Blizzard, and id, and Bethesda over the last couple of years, but we've also seen them close a lot more studios than we've let on. And while I am all about the nostalgia train, I'm excited for Gears of War E-Day, I'm excited for Halo Campaign Evolved, I'm also wondering, are we ever going to get some IPs that are new and also don't suck? Because Bethesda also came out this week with some news, as they are under the Xbox umbrella, saying that they are in the process of getting Elder Scrolls 6 out the door. The only problem is that it's only going to be another, 2 to 3 years if you're watching this in 2026, which if you are, hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you. Elder Scrolls 6 was teased 8 years ago. Elder Scrolls 6 was teased 8 years ago. That was the first Trump administration. 8. And I understand there's an issue, right? Todd Howard, oh, but Todd Howard this, Todd Howard that. I have a lot of respect for Todd Howard, and he gets a lot of unnecessary flack, but let me be honest with you here, man. Why would you show a game if it wasn't close to being ready? Because Bethesda, for the longest time, has been the company to actively only show games when they're on the verge of being completed. So that just begs the question, what in the fuck were you doing, Todd? But let me be very clear here. I've rinsed Rockstar. I've cut it up on Valve, and I have put Xbox in the dirt, but I want to make sure that everyone is here and listening to me right now, because I'm about to inform you of some of the most greedy, brain-dead business decisions I have ever seen, and it unfortunately comes at the hand of a company that I have stood by for a long time. That's right, you guessed it. We gotta talk about I started off this video by talking about Rockstar, and the reason I wanted to mention Rockstar at the beginning is because with GTA 6 not having a physical release without discs, people were starting to get concerned that maybe other games would follow suit. But what we did not know is that July 1st of 2026 would officially mark the beginning of the end for all of physical game media as we know it. On July 1st, Sony released a brand new memo, and the headline of this memo is that starting in 2028, in January of that year, all physical discs will be sunsetted. There will be no more physical disc game releases for Sony consoles. I want you to sit on that. I want you to think about what that means for the future of this industry. Sony also, if you did not know, already owns one of the biggest music corporations in the world, as well as actively is the leading creator of the Blu-ray technology. So think about what this means for the future of all physical media in general. This also allows for Sony to corner the market with their digital marketplace, the PlayStation Store, which, funny enough, is already facing multiple lawsuits for basically being a fucking monopoly. Additionally, Sony has already began to repurpose their disc-making factories across the globe. In favor of making video games, they decided they're gonna make optical micro lenses. Hooray! This would render the entire internet ablaze, setting fire to everything. So bad, this was so poorly received, and rightfully so, that Sony did not make a tweet for almost a full week until they came back to promote this fucking wireless fight stick. Consider me moved. People from literally all walks of life on the internet have been clowning Sony, and rightfully so, from gaming creators to the Domino's UK Twitter admin. What the hell is going on? Actively clamoring for this to get reversed. But the issue is that Sony is absolutely staying 10 toes down. It doesn't matter the amount of PlayStation Plus subscriptions that have been canceled in the past week. It doesn't matter the petitions being signed online. Jason Schreier of Kotaku has actively said that there is not going to be a single budge with Sony. They predicted this backlash, and they are standing firm in their decision because they see digital as way too lucrative to make way more money. And if that doesn't piss you off, just wait. Because in that same article, Sony also announces that they will be taking down the PlayStation 3 and PS Vita stores. This, of course, coming about a week after Sony removed 500 plus movies off of their digital storefronts, which accounts that bought those movies on those storefronts no longer have access to them, which means that any digital media, whether it be any of those 500 movies or any games that you bought on the PS3 stores or the PS Vita stores, they're gone. They're a flash. They're a whisper in the wind. If they did not have a physical release, you will never see them again. And this right here is the crux of the entire argument. This is why physical media is so important, because if Sony is able to physically remove all physical video games, they can corner the market. They're allowed to charge more for video games. Instead of $80, now we're paying $100. Oh, but you can't afford the $100 version. Oh, well then let's just give you a subscription service that you can pay for, right? Oh, but the subscription is like, it has different tiers, right? So at the base level tier, you can download and play the game. Oh, but you want access to online features and the 120 FPS, you got to pay a little bit of an extra tier. And slowly but surely, they continue to nickel and dime you to the point where you no longer own anything. It's all subscription, cloud, services. You will own nothing and you will be happy. But do you want to know, like, one of the most fucked things about this whole situation is that Sony's president and CEO, Hiroki Totoki, sold 225,000 shares of Sony, estimated about $5 million, just days before this announcement, which means that every single suit and bigwig in that boardroom knew exactly how poorly this was going to be received, and they didn't give a fuck. That right there is the main crux, the main shaboozle for this whole conversation. Hell, I have an entire video talking about IGN and their recent bullshit that I almost have done edited that I was going to release for you guys this weekend. But this developing story has been so enthralling to me that I had to put that entire thing on the back burner to talk about this and get this out as quickly as possible, because we are moving in one of the scariest directions in media ever. And I'm terrified, to be honest with you. Now, digital storefronts are not a new concept. They've been around for a very long time. But as I mentioned before, if Sony is able to get away with this, which it apparently seems like they're going to be, then you're losing out on a bunch of different value, and you're going to lose out on owning your products. Now, one thing that really frustrates me is that when you bring up this conversation about digital storefronts, people immediately jump to PC, right? They're like, oh, but you buy your games on Steam. Yes, but let me explain. Even though Steam is the primary digital storefront for PC gaming, there are many different options. There's the Epic Games Store, there's GOG, there's, of course, Steam, there's the Microsoft Store. But more importantly, if Steam went down today, if Gabe Newell said in one fell swoop, I don't like this anymore, and pulled the plug, I have the game files downloaded onto my PC for every game I've ever bought. So even though I cannot technically play them legally, I can figure out ways to still play them because I bought the game and I own it. But let's say I wanted to use a company like GOG, who have actively said in the past, and as of right now, at the making of this video in a recent post, that if you buy a game on GOG and it gets removed from their storefront, you will still have access to that game forever, because that is how digital storefronts should work. Just because I can't touch the game disc and touch the game case doesn't mean I didn't spend my hard-earned money on it. But what Sony is trying to do is not only take away that illusion of choice, they're trying to corner the market in everything you own. Physical media is what keeps digital media in check. It allows for other players to access different types of games for different price points. For example, God of War Ragnarok, didn't mean that. For example, God of War Ragnarok, the 2022 Game of the Year candidate, right now on Amazon, you can buy a physical copy for $32. But if you want to go on the PlayStation Store, it's $70 still. Hell, at the time of recording this, I just walked into a GameStop and bought a used copy of 007 First Light, a game that just came out like a month and a half ago. I can't do that on the PlayStation Store. I bought it for $60. We're also not talking about the resale, trade value, as well as the hand-me-down options. I had my younger brother, who was about to go off to college, buy a disc version of the PlayStation 5 because I buy all of my single-player games with discs, which means that when I have the ability to see him, I'm going to give him all the games that I've played and beaten, so he has more games to play, doesn't have to spend all that kind of money. But with digital-only consoles, that ability is completely gone, and we're not even talking about the fact that the economy is in such a difficult place right now that buying brand new video games is not easy. There are families. I'm one of those families. Growing up, I relied on secondhand game stores like GameStop and otherwise to get video games because buying them brand new was incredibly difficult. And when you take away the choice from the consumer, you are taking away their ability to actively and ethically obtain the information and the goods they want, and that is a monopoly, and that's not fucking okay. Now, the good news is that people were in an uproar on the internet, and thank fucking God, for at least a week, until Sony decided that they were going to drop Call of Duty Black Ops 1 and 2, games from 15 years ago during Obama's second term, mind you. When I was in middle school, I'm going to be 30 in November. These games came out when I was in middle school for a whopping $60 if you want to buy both games with both DLC packs. And these are not remakes. These are not remasters. These are straight ports. And guess what, dude? The internet gobbled these up. Oh my God, I can't wait to play Black Ops 2. I can't wait to play Black Ops 2. You could have played it on Plutonium for free for the last decade. Are you... The ball and gun gamers have no spine. It's ridiculous. Sony is willing to consistently push the envelope when it comes to their fan base. They have been recently cited that they do not care about appealing the masses. They are heavily relying on product loyalty to get away with this current phase of physical media extermination. And I want to be very clear. If you do not stand up to Sony, if you do not actively stop purchasing digital games from them, they're going to get away with complete extermination of physical media, and I cannot healthily explain enough, even though I've done it for the last 30 minutes, on how fucking terrifying that is. Long gone are the days where you would get a blog post or a Twitter post about being apologetic that the PSN servers went down for a weekend. That ship has sailed, and the direction we're heading in absolutely terrifies me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I appreciate every single one of you. I know I've been a little MIA as of recently. Moving across the country will do that to you, but we are working on being more consistent, and I appreciate your time and your efforts. If you guys enjoyed this kind of content, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel down below, and ding that notification bell. And today in the comment section, I want you to be honest with me. Does any of this digital media stuff scare you at all? Are you as worried as I am? Are you not worried at all? Are you somewhere in between? I want to have this comment section be a very big open forum where we're conversating about what the ins and outs are, because I am genuinely scared, but I want to hear other people's opinions as well. So please be civil, and I appreciate you all as always. Once again, thank you so much. Again, if you like this video, hit that like button. And until next time, I'm D3. Peace.